federal agency is struggling to hire 25,000 workers, and when they make a hire, they struggle to retain them. These jobs are largely in IT and cybersecurity, and we're talking about the 2210 job series. When you're looking at 2210, there's about a dozen different disciplines. So you could be help desk or software developer or cybersecurity professional. So you really have to take your time and understand what discipline you want to apply to if that interests you. Another thing about 2210, it's on the urgent hire list. And that means there's a lot of direct hire opportunities if you have the skills to be an IT professional. There can be large incentives attached to these job announcements. I was talking to a guy the other day. He had a $52,000 incentive if he were to sign on for 4 years. So not only do they offer these large incentives, they will offer relocation expenses. They'll reimburse you for that. In some situations, they will even pay back some of your student loans. In one situation, it was $10,000 a year for 4 years. So that's $40,000 that they were willing to pay back on this individual's student loans. I was looking at this guy's resume not too long ago, and it really wasn't that strong, but with that resume, he was still getting multiple job offers, multiple interview requests from states all across the country. One was California, one was even Iowa. But when it comes to a recruiting or a retention issue, if that's the problem, it's because the value isn't there. The value proposition is not strong enough. So can the government, can these agencies step it up and offer more salary, more bonuses? Let's take a look at what the average cybersecurity professional makes in the private sector. It's $128,000 a year, and that's the average nationwide. So if you're in a bigger city, they're going to be earning a lot more than that. So let's look at the government. How much does the government pay on average? Well, the average GS grade in the federal government is a GS-12. So let's look at a GS-12 step 1. What do they make? We can see here that in a major city, it would be $94,000 a year, and in a smaller town, it would be about $82,000 a year. That's a $30,000 to $40,000 a year gap. What can we do to bridge this gap? We already talked about SSR, the special salary rate that was implemented by the Veteran Affairs. That's the only agency that actually implemented it. In fact, at one particular point, the DoD, the Department of Defense, declined implementing the SSR. And the SSR, on average, it was bringing something like 25% salary increases to a lot of these IT professionals. DoD said that the cost was the main reason it was unlikely to opt into the new SSR. It would cost the agency over $700 million each year. Instead, what the DoD wants to do, it wants to implement this cyber accepted service. And what this does essentially is it looks at the geographical market and it ties pay to that area. And the bad part about that is if you're in a small area, then your salary is going to end up being smaller. Here's another part of DoD's plan. It's to create a partnership with the private industry through a pilot apprentice program. When I hear the word apprenticeship, I don't think big dollars, I'm thinking small dollars. So I don't know what kind of recruiting appeal this is going to have for a lot of the IT professionals out there. They also want to improve recruiting tactics, and they want to lean more into telework and remote work. And this is pretty much a common theme that we're starting to see. If you have high value skills, telework is a possibility. Remote work is a possibility. If you have lower level skills, then it's not. Then it's let's build the culture. Let's improve interpersonal communication skills. That's the theme. There's actually an initiative plan that's up online. And the funny thing about this chart is there's no mention of any pay or salary incentives. The fourth row here mentions incentives, but it's not really clear on exactly what type. You would think, out of all the federal agencies, that DoD would be top priority to get cybersecurity professionals, that they would do whatever it takes because they're safeguarding the nation. Cybersecurity attacks has to be number one, or number two, risk that we face as a country. So why are we not rolling out all the incentives and pay that we're able to afford? Every month, new cyber attacks are reported. This country or that country launched a cyber attack on one of our federal agencies. In my opinion, when it comes to IT professionals, about half of them are contractors. When you're talking about the IT PM or application developers, application software developers, these individuals, they tend to be on a contract, a defense contract that's supporting a federal agency. And the problem with that, from my perspective, is they're not giving all of the same benefits that an actual federal employee receives. So they're not going to be locked into a pension. They don't have the same type of job security. After 3 or 4 years, some of their contracts might expire. And then what are they left to do? Look for another contract, jump on another contract. So they're not afforded the same stability. Now for you, if you're considering going back to school, getting some new skills, developing yourself, I would strongly consider looking at IT. And do not become daunted by a new master's program. You don't have to get a master's degree. You don't even need to get a bachelor's degree in it. You need the skills. That's the first thing you need, the skills. And the second thing, you need to apply the skills. And you can do this for free. You can self-learn. You can teach yourself online through free courses, through YouTube videos. Once you have the necessary skills, you volunteer either at your church, your community, your school. You volunteer and you implement those skills and you document it as volunteer experience. And you can use that to get a 2210 type job in the federal government. One of the big differences I've noticed when it comes to documenting your IT experience, or really any experience, the government is more than willing to look at your volunteer experience and give it the same weight as if you were paid. And if you were to try to take that same approach with the private sector, I mean, it's not going to hold the same weight. I mean, some people might not even count it at all. So this is one of the benefits when you're pursuing a federal government job. If you are interested in getting a federal government job, or you want to know more about the federal hiring process, I did a live stream recently. I answered over a dozen questions. If that interests you, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.